sundown when I come through. I need a girl like you.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon to everyone here, right? And welcome to our day 6 of our lunchtime webinar. Okay, so today we will be having our speakers, Mr. Ivan Phua, to share on his thought on critical thinking. Okay, but before we go over there, let me have a look at our participants for today. Okay, I think we do have some friends from our Asia Marketing Federation. Ms. Gwen, Madam Sharifah, thanks for joining us. Okay, for those that have been with us over the past 1 week, thanks for keeping us a company. All right. So last week is where we actually touched on some of the technique that will actually help us in our sales and marketing in some of our jobs. So we were talking about perfecting the pitching process, and at the same time, powerful words and how to actually design our PowerPoint into such a way that is able to actually create a difference. So today we will be touching on a more, I think, a topic that everyone will get to gain from our speakers. But before going there, I would really like all of you here to actually look into your Facebook. You know that MIS, we do have a Facebook page, but I'm not asking you to do it right now because I'm afraid that when you get out of Zoom and you go onto our Facebook page and to click the like right now, you probably will have some difficulties in getting back. So please do that after our webinar sessions itself. Get onto our Facebook, click on the like and join us, okay? And you'll probably be able to get some values out of it, some of the news, our upcoming program, including some of our CSR, our corporate social responsibility that we'll be doing. Right, at this time, I would like to bring your attention also to one of the initiatives that's initiated by the Marketing Institute of Singapore, and that is to a mass donation drive. Okay, can we flash the screen? Okay, we are actually having a mass donation drive, not just for Singaporean, but for our neighboring countries. People in Philippines, in Indonesia, Bangladesh, and including some parts of Malaysia. Right, so we will actually target at our Filipinos counterpart. We will be working with the Philippine Marketing Association in terms of a mass donation. Okay, so if you do have some extra masks, or if you wanted to donate them, or if you do not have the avenues of getting onto a mask itself, you can always contact our staff onto how you can actually join us in this mass donation. We are looking at people going day by day without the basic necessity in terms of protecting themselves against the COVID-19 virus. Okay, so this is where we, MIS, we would like to actually appeal to our audience, including our members there, to help us join us in this mass donation drive. All right, we are all global citizens. So we can be thinking about our neighboring countries in the ASEAN community. So the very first community that we would like to reach out to will be our friends from the Philippines. There are people wandering along the streets right now without proper masks, without proper protection. So this is where we are collaborating with our Philippines counterpart, the Philippine Marketing Association, including our past presidents from Philippines and the past presidents of the Marketing Institute of the Asia Marketing Federation, Ms. Gwen, to actually get this mass donation drive up. And then at the same time, hopefully this will make a difference to our friends in Philippines. Okay, so do join us and look out for more information how you can actually contribute to our small little effort in trying to make a difference in this world. Okay, right, next. I know this being the third week of the lockdown period, some of us are actually getting used to it. I don't know about you, but I'm sort of getting used to be working from home, spending a lot more time home, a lot more time thinking. Okay, so that's where I think this session comes in very, very timely and very handy. All right, we're talking about critical thinking. Now, I've actually had a very short conversation earlier on before today's sessions with Ivan. All right, to talk about, hey, what is this critical thinking? Is it something that is very complex and things like that? But through his conversation, I find that Ivan is an excellent person to touch on the subject itself, because he also volunteers among the community to help the senior citizens in terms of skill sets, improving their skill sets or maintaining their skill sets. Okay, and then today's topic, it's actually a very wide topic. All right, I think part of the points will be to cover how you think about your thinking. So when Ivan mentioned that point, how you think about your thinking, it sounds very complex. So he's talking about something about getting yourself out on an age's perspective to look into your thinking. All right, and then touching on the word critical, it's not just about critical, it's about critics. So and this is also a time where we can actually find time to evaluate on our thinking process so that we can make better decisions, isn't it? Okay, so at this time I would like to actually invite Ivan, okay, up to join the screen with me. Now, just a little write-up on Ivan itself. Now, Ivan actually he holds a psychology degree from the University of Dublin. He also has a master's degree with Monash University and graduated from engineering field in the area of electrical. All right, he's ACTA-Certified and has been doing learning, development and transformation leadership, people's management and service excellence. Very, very nice guy. Spoken with very shortly, very briefly, in fact, before the sessions. Hi, Ivan. Everyone, please help me to invite Ivan. Give a round of applause to our speakers today. Okay, Ivan, thanks for wanting to join us in today's webinar sessions. Now, like what I've mentioned, we will be continuing our webinar sessions towards the end, right up to the end of our lockdown period. Right down to the end of our circuit breaking period itself. So this is our MIS ways in showing we care for you. Okay, we want to keep you engaged. We want to keep you with us. Okay, and to learn something new every day from our suite of trainers. So Ivan is actually our top trainers in the Marketing Institute of Singapore. One of the top trainers in the Marketing Institute of Singapore. So Ivan, take it on. All right, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and hope everybody's doing well. And I must first thank Roger and MIS for inviting me for this lunch talk. And today is a topic that I personally like to talk about it and to embrace it. So let me kickstart the session. Okay, just give me a second. Okay. Okay, now basically we are going to talk about critical thinking. So what exactly is critical thinking? Yeah, like what Roger said, hey, critical thinking, a lot of people look at the word critical and they tend to look at it in a very critical way. That, hey, am I looking at the direction correctly? Am I thinking this way? Why are you approaching this problem this way and things like that? They are being very critical. So this is not about critical thinking, right? Critical thinking, in short, is like what Roger has mentioned earlier on, is sometimes we have to just step out of ourselves, just be away from ourselves and look back at yourself and think about, hey, am I thinking the right way? Think about your thinking, yeah? So let me share with you some of the objectives we are going to cover for today. Okay, I hope to cover it within this 1 hour and leave some time for Q&A so that everybody has a chance to have the clarification. Are we okay? Right? So one of which is, hey, first and foremost, what is critical thinking? Yeah, you need to be aware of what it is in the first place. Okay, and then we are going into why is it important? Why is it important? So if it is important, then why is it important, and how can we use it to our best of our advantage? Yeah. And then next will be, right? Hey, can it be taught? Can it be taught? It's something that, hey, it is very abstract. So how can I learn? Is there a way to learn? Yeah. And then what we'll touch on next will be, hey, after I've learned, where do I see myself? There must be a gauge, right? I'm at level 3. So how do I assess myself to be level 5 or even going up to level 7? So how do you measure, so to speak? Yeah. And then what are the necessary steps in critical thinking? What are the tools that we can use, right? So now if I were to ask yourself, what are the ways you can think critically? Yeah, it might be, oh, okay, these are ways I've been using. That are some of the ways that my colleagues has been using. So what are the steps that I can learn so that at the end of the day, anytime and any situation, yeah, be it at work, this is where you do not just apply the critical thinking at work. It is just applying at work, at home, or even outside any situation. Are we okay? So it's a very applicable skill that you can actually use it with your family members, with colleagues and friends as well. Okay. And then last but not least, then how can I improve? How can I improve? Right? So as we move along, how can we improve? Like most of us attend today's session. Why do you want to attend in the first place? I'm sure you want to attend because you want to know, hey, what's out there that I can pick up? What is something that I can learn to improve myself? So this is where how you can improve in your critical thinking. Okay. Now, coming to the first one. So ask yourself, okay, what is critical thinking? Maybe you may have a pen and paper and write down very quickly. What is critical thinking? Okay, what is critical thinking? Now, critical thinking is the capability to organize information rationally. Okay, now you need to have the ability to do it. If you lack the ability, then that is where you may fall short. So the steps that I will share with you later on will help you to increase your ability to do it. Now, organize. How do you organize? You may have a lot of information at hand, be it at work or at play. You may have so much information, but how do you organize them in a good sense of it, right? So this is where you will create certain schemas to help you to identify which are the primary information, which are the secondary information, and what are the information that is good to have it, but it doesn't really play a major role in it. So you need to identify them and organize them, compartmentalize them accordingly, right? And then information. What about information? We are bombarded with lots of information, I'm sure, right? Nowadays you have handphone, you have tablets, you have whatever, right? We are bombarded with lots and lots of information. We are not short of information, so to speak, right? So the question here will be, yes, with all the information, what do you do with it, right? We have so much information available, just like that. You search the internet, type something. How fast will the answer come back to you? Split second, right? And not just one answer. There are tons and thousands and hundreds of thousands of information flooding your way. Question will be, then what do you do with the information? How do you know that which information is real, which information is not, right? So this is where you will learn how to decipher which one is important, right? And rationally, what do you mean by rationally? It must be logical, right? The information and the processing must be logical. You must have it so that when you share with others, you know that, hey, this information makes sense out of it. It makes sense out of it. So the first statement is the capability to organize information rationally, right? Now, the second one will be, hey, when we have the information, it involves a lot of evaluation. What do you evaluate? You need to evaluate whether, hey, some information missing? Are there any information that may not be credible, or are the information incorrect? Yeah, so you need to do some evaluation, right? And data sources, facts, and other research. This is where you need to find out, hey, are these information from credible sources, reliable sources, or from somebody that just sent to you and mass sending out information. I'm sure we receive information, for example, through WhatsApp, right? A lot of information being sent out, 1 to 10, 10 to 100, 100 to thousands, just within a minute, you send out practically to everywhere. Okay, so you need to know where are the sources of this information that comes from, whether are they credible or not. Okay, and you need to do some research. We have to do some research. We need to find out, hey, where do they base the information on? Okay, and to make a reasonable conclusion, you have all the information, yeah, logical ones, mathematical, scientific, arts, whatever, all the information comes in. So now that you can digest it, you analyze it, you evaluate it, right? You make sure that all this information are credible, makes sense, and then how can you make a good conclusion to the person that you're going to talk to? Yeah, you need to come up with a conclusive, evidence-based information, right? So that people can say, okay, that makes sense, and you have a reference to all this information. It is not plucking information out from the sky, yeah, right? And last but not least, in short, hey, how can we connect the dots? How can we make sense of it? What goes next? What are the sequence and things like that? Yeah, what are the sequence? Now, let's talk about in the workplace, because most of the time we spend our hours in the workplace. Now, not that in the physical workplace, now we are doing in the virtual workplace, right? So in the workplace, how can you do it then? Yeah, how can you do it then? You need to be able to sort among those useful and arbitrary details, those information that may be not the critical information, may not be real facts and figures and things like that. So you need to be able to disseminate and decipher which are the information that, hey, I make use of this one. This one, I don't think is a credible source. Let me put it aside first. Okay, let me put it aside. So you need to be able to split them up. It's just like you're able to split the beans from the rice. You know, if it's mixed up, you need to be able to split the beans from the rice. So these are technique and art to do it, right? And then next will be, hey, from here you can produce a big picture, seeing the whole picture, because you do not want to miss out certain information. Okay, in the workplace, sometimes we hear certain information from our colleagues, yeah, and then with that limited information, what do we do? So a lot of times, including myself, right, sometimes we receive the information and we jump straight into conclusion, oh, this is such, without knowing the other parts of it, like the background of it, the reasons for this scenario. Yeah, so you need to form a big picture to piece out all together. It's just like 1,000 pieces of jigsaw puzzle. You need to piece them out to see the actual whole picture. Certain parts, if it is missing, you may not get the whole essence of it. Okay, and last but not least, with that, you must be able to do the impactful decision making and to be able to convince the listener. Okay, so you need to come up with the impactful solution to whatever problems or whatever issues that you are facing with. Okay, now let me show you a quick video, right?
Critical thinking is all about asking questions. The right questions. Questions that help you assess both the meaning and the significance of claims and arguments. Building these skills and applying them in your life makes it easier for you to assess evidence, evaluate arguments, and adapt your thinking so you stay switched on and engaged in different situations. Critical thinking involves stepping back from a situation to enable you to see all the angles before making judgments or taking decisions. It means identifying the key points, analyzing the sources of information, weighing up different types of evidence, just as a judge and jury would do in a court of law, and putting it all together into your own independent, thought-through point of view. One thing that it's very important to realize is that critical thinking isn't about being critical. And it's about much more than just finding flaws in other people's claims. By itself, that isn't enough to give you an edge. To be a true critical thinker means being creative, reflective, and adaptable, evaluating the evidence to decide for yourself what is accurate, what is relevant, and do I have sufficient information to take a decision on this topic? Thinking critically means taking a stand for yourself. It can be difficult not to be swayed by close family or friends' views on things, or certain beliefs that just feel right. But learning how to use these higher-order thinking skills can help you to feel much more confident in your own opinions and conclusions. Critical thinking is also about a sense of discovery and excitement. Not only about learning, but evaluating arguments to see how they stand up, and filtering for yourself what resonates as right or wrong. By using these techniques, you'll find yourself becoming a clearer, better thinker.
Right. So I'm sure you heard about what is critical thinking about, and the next question is, why is it important? Okay, we use it every day, sometimes without realizing it. Okay, so why is it important? Right, it is important because number one, it is valuable to our employers, right? Our organizations. It is important to them because why? We're talking about proficiency, about efficiency, about productivity. So if you are able to think critically, you are able to analyze and evaluate a lot of information quickly and produce the solution, right? And you can justify and you can convince the management of a certain direction or certain issue, the problem today issue, okay? And also employees can become high performers. Employees, as if you are the management team, your employees will be performing better and faster and more efficiently. And if you yourself are the employee, you will be a higher performer. You will perform much better than earlier on, right? Before you master these critical thinking skills. Right now, so let me share with you some of the 7 reasons, why it is important. Okay.
7 reasons why critical thinking is important. Hi, in this video, you will learn why critical thinking is important in our everyday lives. Critical thinking is a skill you attain developing your judgments by thinking open-mindedly, logically, and coherently. By becoming a good critical thinker, you become a more independent and self-directed learner. Every person can improve their critical thinking skills, helping them take accurate decisions in their daily life routines at school, university, organization, or simply at home. Here are the 7 reasons why we advise practicing critical thinking skills. 1. Critical thinking encourages independency. Learning how to think critically teaches you to be more independent. You do not rely on others and you take full ownership of your strengths and weaknesses. This helps you avoid mistakes, improving your judgmental and evaluation skills to a whole new level. 2. Critical thinking improves your self-evaluation. Thinking with reason and making logical justifications helps reflect your own values and decisions in a good way. Critical thinking is considered as an important asset for one's own well-being. 3. Critical thinking promotes good language and presentation skills. By thinking critically, you can present your thoughts in an organized manner. Analyzing your data logically helps you express your idea more effectively. 4. Critical thinking encourages creativity and innovation. By thinking out of the box, you come up with new ideas and creative solutions, allowing you to explore alternative options. As opposed to narrow thinking, critical thinking frees your mind and motivates you to understand other situations around you. 5. Critical thinking encourages good decision making, being a good, systematic,
Give me a second. Okay, I'm not able to share the screen. Roger or Amos?
Edgar, could you kindly assist Ivan to share his screen, please?
Okay.
possible solutions to your problems. By doing that, you can then easily visualize the best of these solutions and thus apply it accordingly. 6. Critical thinking encourages scientific discoveries and theories. Science involves theory creation. However, in order to confirm these scientific theories, both experimentation and reason are necessary. So critical thinking is and will always be one of the main foundations of science. 7. Critical thinking keeps us up to date with our 21st century economy. As you already know, our economy today is based on information and technology. It is changing quickly and effectively. Analyzing information and solving problems systematically helps us adapt to this fast-changing workplace. So as explained, it is vital to possess good critical thinking skills full of reason and logic. Learning how to master thinking analytically and systematically is considered a valuable asset for any career.
Okay, good. So I'm sure you caught all the 7 points, 7 important points, right? Now, let me go into something that is most of us would have experienced, and we have watched the movie, and some of us will watch the marathon series of it. We're going to go on to can critical thinking be taught? Okay. Now, what's the answer? Can I get some reply from in the Q&A or chat group? What's the answer? Okay, let me pause for a while. Okay. Yes, from Daniel, from Christine, Amos, Judy, yes. Okay. Right. Wow. Interesting. So everybody says yes. Everybody says yes. Okay, good. Now the answer, let me go back to the screen. Okay, and Jessica also. Okay, let me share the screen. Yes, critical thinking can be taught. Okay, the answer is yes. Okay, now how? Right, it is an acquired skill, and you need to practice. Right, so it's pretty much like you're learning how to swim or learning how to cycle. Right, it is a skill that you can learn. But in order to be better, you need to put it into practice. When do we need to put it into practice? Okay, we don't use it only when there is a problem or when there's an issue, whether it's at work or at play, right? At any moment, you can ask yourself, what am I doing? What are the processes that I'm going through in my mind? Okay, so you need to keep practicing. It's like sharpening the sword. Yeah, you need to do it regularly and to become better, right? And the next one will be, yeah, as what it says, you become proficient over time. You need to do it regularly so that you are good at it. Just like playing tennis, you need to practice to be a professional tennis player, right? Right, and then it starts with building an awareness. What do you mean by it starts with building an awareness? The awareness that, hey, what am I doing? Am I approaching it in a very simplistic way or more critical way, right? So you need to be aware, right? If not, we're just proceeding every situation just like that. We are so used to it. So we have to take a step back and look at it and process it accordingly, which I will show you the different steps to go about it later on. Yeah, and then you need to start by reading. The fact that you're attending this webinar is something that you want to learn and you want to find out more. Read widely and research a lot of information widely, right? And key thing is personality matters. Wow. So how does personality come into play in terms of critical thinking, right? Now, for a moment, let me ask you, among you and your colleagues, you know your colleagues well, do all of you think the same way? I'm sure no, right? The answer I'm sure is no. Everybody thinks differently, right? Now let me bring you to something interesting, all right? Avengers. I'm sure you heard about the Avengers. Okay. Now, if you're wondering, hey, this is about critical thinking. Why talk about Avengers? Now let me share with you, right? First and foremost, who is this guy? The Incredible Hulk. All right. What can you say about the Incredible Hulk? Yeah, he is, of course, muscular physically, right? But the way he approached issue, how does he do it? He will bash through and get the thing done, right? Don't care whether is it the solution is behind the wall or whatever. He'll just bash through. Okay, so that is the characteristics of Incredible Hulk. He's very objective driven. He don't care about people around him, right? He just makes sure that the things are being done correctly and get it done ASAP. How to do it? He will figure it out a way. Okay, the next guy. This guy is called the Iron Man. I'm sure you know, right? So Iron Man. What about Iron Man, right? Apart from he has all the protective gears and he can fly around easily, right? Iron Man is somebody that he's having fun. Do you realize that he's the type that is more jovial, right? He likes to attend parties and things like that. So he is the kind of personality that, hey, come on, let's chill, right? Problems? Don't worry, we can get it done. But let's chill first, okay? So there is something about him, right? And let me go through the details later on, right? And the third guy will be Captain America, right? What about Captain America, right? He's the down-to-earth guy, right? He's not so expressive. He's the very mellow, and he will care about the people around him, about the what do you call it, the feelings about his friends and his teammates and things like that. He will listen to others and say, oh, so what's the issue about? He's the so-called the Mickey Mouse with the big ears, right? So he's the more of a people person, right? Although he gets the things done, of course, yeah. And last but not least, who is this guy? Right, he's Hawkeye. So you can see from a picture, what is unique about him? What is good about him? He's very accurate, right? With his bow and arrow, he can shoot very accurately and very fast, right? And he knows all the details, right? So these are the different personality that we all possess, right? And let me ask you, among you and your colleagues, among you and your family members, do you all exhibit differently like these four guys over here? I'm sure, right? But you may say, hey, yeah, I'm a little bit of Incredible Hulk. I'm a little bit of Iron Man. Fair enough. Yeah, we do have some combination of it. Yeah, but primarily, you will have one as the key one and the secondary behavior that you exhibit. Okay, so how do they look at them? How do they think critically? The way they approach is totally different. Yeah, right. For example, Hawkeye. Let me take a very good example. For Hawkeye, he is a good critical thinker because why? He goes through all the details. He finds out he do all the research. He will get all the details correct. Every step 1.1, 1.2, 1.12, everything very detailed. Okay, but this is where he loves to analyze. Right, critical thinking is about analysis. He loves to analyze. But if for some of us who are like Hawkeye, we like to analyze. I always say, okay, it's good to analyze, but do not analyze until you get paralyzed. All right, you need to move on. Okay, but compared to Iron Man, he don't like to analyze. He don't like all the details. He just get things going. Right. So this is where you need to know how to balance yourself between the different personality. Are we okay? Yeah. Now, let me quickly show you a video on the different traits in detail.
Okay, so we've established that everyone is different, right? But here's the cool thing. They are predictably different. We all are. And because of that, we can actually predict how people will act or react in a given situation. Our world is made up of 4 types of people. There's dominant, or the D style, influencing, which is the I style, steady, or the S style, and compliant, the C style. Generally speaking, those are the personality types of the people you interact with every day. And I'll let you in on a little secret. You're one of them. Let's take a look. We've all been waiting on an elevator and seen the girl who presses the button, steps back and looks at the button again, then presses it again, and again and again. Yeah, that's a D style. She has places to go and people to see. She's probably always in a hurry, so then she'll tap and hold the button, frustrated, thinking she can actually make it move faster. D styles are dominant, direct, and results-driven people who want to control their environment and then do something to make a difference in their world. Now, let's take a look at the I style. She is Talky Talkerton. Once the doors open to the elevator, she's the one who turns around and starts talking to nobody in particular about pretty much anything. She's an influencer. When the elevator stops, she's the jokester who quips, "Third floor, lingerie, enjoy your day." Now, not all I styles are cheesy people who tell mom jokes all the time, but you see what I mean. Eyes draw energy from people and love to engage. Now, here comes little Miss C style. She's the quiet one. She's kind of off to the side, standing in the front of the elevator, looking at the plaque that reads, "Maximum weight, 2,500 pounds. She's calculating body weight. Uh-oh, if one more person gets on, we're gonna go down. She's on a schedule, but she's allowed herself plenty of time. She's compliant, she knows the rules, obeys the rules, and wants everyone else to do the same. Look at her, how cute. Enter the S personality. She's stable, steady, and keenly aware of her surroundings. She wants everyone to be happy, and she thinks it's her job to make it so. She's the one holding the elevator door open to make sure everyone who wants to get on can do so at their leisure. Meanwhile, Miss D's in the back huffing and puffing about needing to get to her meeting. The S will even take the stairs if there's not enough room for Miss I, who keeps everyone waiting while she finishes her mocha latte frappuccino thing. Harmony and steadiness are a big deal to the S. As a leader, it's important to know these DISC styles so you can begin to better understand the people around you. It's also important to understand that we are all a blend of these styles. Sure, we can adapt those blends based on our environment or when a specific situation calls for one style over the other. But more often than not, we've all got to accept our DISC and learn to live, work, and play and accept these basic truths. So there you have it. We're all different, but we are predictably different. Okay, so we've...
Okay, good. So now you have an idea what are the different styles. Now, are you able to visualize or assess, hey, which style do you belong to? Yeah, so because we are different, the way we think and the way we process information makes it a big difference. Okay, now let's take a quick check. Now, what about your superior? Okay, your superior. Is your superior a one that goes direct to the point, or will go into the details, or just want to have fun and relax mood kind of thing to get the things going, right? So you know that they are more of a, most of the time, right? Most of the time, they are more of a D style, the one that gets tasked to get the task going, right? They don't care about how you're going to do it. Never mind, just get it done. Okay, so these are the ways that they can affect the way we process the information and come to a solution. Right? So what are some of the desirable traits? Let me share with you. You must be curious, right? You must be curious. Hey, why is this disease going on? How did it come about, right? And you must be interested to learn more. How about, what are the various solutions that is possible, right? And where does it come from? Where is the original source of it and things like that? Yeah, you must be the curious cat. Yeah, Sees connection and being observant. You need to observe, right, all the details, right? I have a friend that is very observant. Whenever we meet each other, he will pick all the details that, hey, wow, you're so observant that I did sometimes I didn't even know about it. Yeah. So you need to be observant and see how do the individual tiny dots link to each other. Yeah. Right. And open-minded, being open-minded. Right. Now, what do you mean by being open-minded? It's very, very abstract. What do you mean by open-minded? Be ready to receive different views, right? And be a good listener. Listen to what others have to share with you, right? You may not know everything. Yeah. Even if you have a PhD or triple PhD, so what? You may not know everything that is going on. Yeah. So always be a good listener and always approach it in a different perspective. Right? Because why? We are brought up differently. Our values, right? Our values are different. Our experiences are different. So the way we approach it will be different. So hear it from the other angle, okay? And be self-reflective. Always reflect. Hey, what have I gone through? What did I learn today? And things like that. And make sure that there's no bias. Okay, like it or not, some of us will have bias towards certain issues. Yeah, it's natural. Yeah, because we are human beings. So be aware of the bias that we may have. Okay, so take note of that. All right, and be creative and have the confidence to do it. Hey, we may fail, doesn't matter, but be creative and try it out. Right, always try it out. Right. So bottom line is, right, is a combination of interpersonal skills. You deal with people and also your thinking skills, your cognitive intelligence, the way you think. So it has to deal with everybody and the way you internally and externally also. Okay, it is about hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills like the technical skills, the data that you have, and the skills that you have acquired through schools. The soft skills is to learn from dealing with people and how you behave. Okay, and hey, we challenge the way. Why do we do it the same old thing, even though it is applicable or it is successful? Do we continue doing it just for the sake that is workable, right? Always challenge the way that, hey, is this the right way, or is there a better way, or is there a more efficient way? You may take 10 steps to achieve the results. Think about it. Yeah, okay, it takes 10 steps, but can I cut down 2 steps and achieve the same results? Okay, right? And think beyond. I always say, people always tell me, hey, you must think out of the box. I tell them, no, you don't think out of the box because you're not in the box in the first place. Yeah, you're not in the box in the first place. So, but you think beyond, right? Think more, right? And then what are the necessary steps? Okay, there are 5 steps I'm going to share with you. Ask questions, right? There are different questions, that different ways you're going to ask, whether is it deeper questions, broader perspective, and things like that. There are 9 different types of questions which I will show in the main workshop, right? The asking questions. Next will be collect all the information needed. Are we missing information? Right? Check whether any other information that we need to get hold of. Okay. The third step, question underlying assumptions. What is behind all this? Is it the writer's beliefs, or the writer's different perspective, or the values that may be different? Or is it coming from a third world country or the first world country, whatever it is, right? So we need to check the assumptions, right? Examine acceptable beliefs. Hey, are these beliefs universal or only applicable to maybe certain culture? Yeah. Evaluate all evidence. Remember the first slide? Evaluate all the evidence. Make sure that all the information are credible, right? All the information are credible and open to revise your own perspective, right? Change your mindset, okay? And last but not least, develop the conclusion based on data, not based on my feel, right? You need to base on certain credible data to work on. Then you can convincingly influence the person, persuade the other person. Are we okay? Right? Now, so how can I improve my critical thinking skills? right? How can you improve? You may have a certain level of skills that you exercise. You may reflect regularly. You do some evaluation, but how can you improve from here? Okay. Now discuss the task, right? And then identify what are the ones that require deeper thoughts, critical thinking, right? Because put it this way, not all tasks needs critical thinking. Okay. Where do you go for lunch? Where are you going for lunch? You don't have to go into critical thinking per se. Yeah, of course you may think that, oh, I'm going for a heavier lunch, but later I have a meeting. I don't want to, be so tired and things like that. So there are different ways. So discuss which are the tasks that needs more focused attention on, right? And then look for the top priority tasks. Okay, then use the 5 steps to go through. Okay, and then examine your cognitive bias, the way you think. Because why? Like it or not, we are in the eastern part of the world. Our culture, our beliefs may be different from those in the Western world, right? For example, what do you call it? The 7 month, right? We believe in that, but the Western world may believe otherwise. For them is Halloween, things like that. Yeah. So you need to understand the different biases that we may have. Okay, and reinforce the efforts. Hey, look for different insights. What is it about, right? And always encourage yourself to try to solve it. Always encourage yourself to try to solve it. Encourage people around you to help you along the way also. Okay, and also solicit feedback. This is where, yeah, you think about it. You present your case, your solution. Ask for feedback. What is it good about it? What are the areas that I may have missed out? What are areas that I need to improve, right? So this is where you need to learn how to have clear communication with the person that you're presenting the solution to. Okay, now
every day, a sea of decisions stretches before us. Some are small and unimportant, but others have a larger impact on our lives. For example, which politician should I vote for? Should I try the latest diet craze? Or will email make me a millionaire? We're bombarded with so many decisions that it's impossible to make a perfect choice every time. But there are many ways to improve our chances, and one particularly effective technique is critical thinking. This is a way of approaching a question that allows us to carefully deconstruct a situation, reveal its hidden issues, such as bias and manipulation, and make the best decision. If the critical part sounds negative, that's because, in a way, it is. Rather than choosing an answer because it feels right, a person who uses critical thinking subjects all available options to scrutiny and skepticism. Using the tools at their disposal, they'll eliminate everything but the most useful and reliable information. There are many different ways of approaching critical thinking, but here's one 5-step process that may help you solve any number of problems. 1. Formulate your question. In other words, know what you're looking for. This isn't always as straightforward as it sounds. For example, if you're deciding whether to try out the newest diet craze, your reasons for doing so may be obscured by other factors, like claims that you'll see results in just 2 weeks. But if you approach the situation with a clear view of what you're actually trying to accomplish by dieting, whether that's weight loss, better nutrition, or having more energy, that'll equip you to sift through this information critically, find what you're looking for, and decide whether the new fad really suits your needs. 2. Gather your information. There's lots of it out there, so having a clear idea of your question will help you determine what's relevant. If you're trying to decide on a diet to improve your nutrition, you may ask an expert for their advice, or seek other people's testimonies. Information gathering helps you weigh different options, moving you closer to a decision that meets your goal. 3. Apply the information, something you do by asking critical questions. Facing a decision, ask yourself, what concepts are at work? What assumptions exist? Is my interpretation of the information logically sound? For example, in an email that promises you millions, you should consider, what is shaping my approach to this situation? Do I assume the sender is telling the truth? Based on the evidence, is it logical to assume I'll win any money? 4. Consider the implications. Imagine it's election time, and you've selected a political candidate based on their promise to make it cheaper for drivers to fill up on gas. At first glance, that seems great. But what about the long-term environmental effects? If gasoline use is less restricted by cost, this could also cause a huge surge in air pollution, an unintended consequence that's important to think about. 5. Explore other points of view. Ask yourself why so many people are drawn to the policies of the opposing political candidate. Even if you disagree with everything that candidate says, exploring the full spectrum of viewpoints might explain why some policies that don't seem valid to you appeal to others. This will allow you to explore alternatives, evaluate your own choices, and ultimately help you make more informed decisions. This 5-step process is just one tool, and it certainly won't eradicate difficult decisions from our lives, but it can help us increase the number of positive choices we make. Critical thinking can give us the tools to sift through a sea of information and find what we're looking for. And if enough of us use it, it has the power to make the world a more reasonable place.
Okay, so in summary, we have learned a couple of different things, right? Tim Fargo says, confidence is what we get when we take fear, face it, and replace it, right? It's just like the Avengers. You take fear, face the fear, and replace it, okay? So you need to be bold and be courageous to try it. Hey, it's not that you will fail every time, and it's not that the first time you do it, you will get it right. It's okay to fail. The failure is where you learn the mistakes, right? So take the fear, face it, and challenge it, and to make it better, right? To improve is to change. Yes, change is constant. To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. Yeah, we need to sharpen the saw. We need to do it regularly. You need to practice. Okay, the more you practice, the better it gets. Okay, and last but not least, hey, one day or day one, you decide. One day I will do it, or this is day one that I started it. It's up to you, right? So it's a very simple code. One day or day one, right? It's up to you. Okay, you are the one who make the step, make it happen. Okay, now let's have some quick fun. Maybe we can just key in the answers, right? Before we end. A man stands on one side of the river, his dog on the other. And the man calls his dog, who immediately crosses the river without getting wet and without using bridge or a boat or whatever. So how did the dog do it? Anybody? Okay. The river is frozen. Okay. Now, 2 boxers in a match scheduled for 12 rounds. No kicking. Okay. Nothing else, right? One of the boxers get knocked out after only 6 rounds, yet no man throws a punch. How is this possible? Okay, how is this possible? Okay, any ideas? Okay, let me show the answer. Because both are female boxers. Okay, no man throws a punch because both are female boxers. Okay, now this is one thing that you want to try. What is unusual about the following words? Revive, banana, grammar, voodoo, assess, potato, dresser, uneven. So what is unique? What is unusual about these words? Okay. Okay, you may type it into the chat board over there. Okay, let me give you the answer. Take the first letter of each word and put it at the end. You will spell the same word backwards. Try it out. Okay, right? Now, before all things are done, all right, I know time is about out. I've devised a local version of the model. Okay, I call it my model. Okay, about critical thinking. What is this model? ICA and ACT. Now, for those in Singapore especially, I'm sure you know where is ICA, right? All right, and ACT, yeah, your action, right? ACT. So what does ICA, ACT come about in this critical thinking? Number one is information. Where do you get the information? Are the information credible? Where is the source of it? Okay, are you missing any information? Okay. Next will be comprehend. How much do you understand about the issue, about the problem, right? If you do not understand the problem totally, then you're solving a problem that is not getting the right solution, right? And you need to understand, right, to comprehend the information well enough. Okay. Now, next will be to analyze. Once you have all the information with you, right, different sources, different places, you check that they are credible. Then you analyze them, right? This is where you dissect them and you converge them, right? This is where you do the analysis and find out more. So one big chunk of it, you have to separate it out into different parts of it, right? And then apply, right? Apply what? What do you apply? Apply your thinking skills. Make sure that there's no bias, right? Make sure that the values are on check, right? And make sure that, hey, whether your belief is different from the rest or not. Is this belief credible and can you use this belief? Okay. The next one will be communicate. How can you communicate the solution or the ideas across, bearing in mind your different style, the other person's different style. So this is where you need to be able to communicate well, right? The key is to communicate well. The last part, right, to test it out. Test it out as in what? Once you've done it, get the feedback. Remember, get the feedback. Hey, how is it like? Am I approaching it in a way or am I approaching it in a simplistic way? Test out, get the feedback. Okay, so you have ICA and ACT, right? And with that, thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you learned something more so when you come and attend the full day session. Okay, now here's a QR code that you can scan and to register for the workshop. Okay, right, and with that, thank you very much. Let me go back. Okay.
Hi, okay, thanks, Dave. Well, I'm starting up my camera right now. Hi, okay, hope you can see me right now. Dave, sorry, not Dave, Ivan. What am I talking about here? Okay, Ivan, right, thank you so much for sharing that critical thinking sessions. I believe our attendees over here will probably have quite a number of questions to ask or to clarify. So please post them on the Q&A buttons, which I've seen one coming in. You're welcome to actually send in more. Okay, Ivan, I've got this very, thanks for sharing that on critical thinking, because we were all laughing in my rooms together with my staff when you talk about the frozen lake and the dog crossing over. So that's a very funny way, innovative way of looking at things, which brings me to my next point. You're right, not in every scenario with that we have to apply critical thinking skills. I can tell you for once that my wife is really a critical thinker all the time. every time when I was about to get out of the house, when I'm about to get out of the house, she will put on her critical thinking hat, with all her questions coming in, where we'll be going, what time are we going to come back, and things like that. And everything will come into place, and then how she can manipulate me to give her the answer that she wants, okay, or to commit to the answers that she wants. Okay, anyway, my questions will be, Ivan, who do you think will be a better gender in terms of critical thinking? You're looking at female and male gender itself, all right? So we always say that the female, our women's community, professional communities, both are very sensitive. They can sort of feel the thing before they even come in, and I don't know whether this has got a part to do with the critical thinking process that I've gone through. So what is your answer on this?
Well, like what you say, you need to give a politically correct answer to your wife. Now, what you're saying, I suppose, is referring to the intuition. Yeah, the intuition that I always believe the ladies have a very good sixth sense. Okay, even my wife. So whenever she say, "This one don't buy," I say, "But it's on sale. If you don't buy now, you buy later, it's going to cost more. Now you buy, you already save money. Don't buy, just don't buy." I say, "Why? Don't buy." Okay, no argue. I listen to her, and fair enough. Sometimes later on, I found out, hey, there are some defects or some areas that are not good about that product, and there are other better products down the road. So this is one. Now, as you debate between male and female, which side is more having a better critical thinking mind, it depends. Okay, it depends. As I say, it depends on many factors. One is your brought up, your values and your education, your beliefs and your perception. The other one is your training, right? So everybody can be on the same level, right? It's nothing to do with gender. Nothing to do with gender. Yeah? Does that answer your question?
That's a politically correct answer. Although I like to think the otherwise. I think our female communities are always better in terms of intuition, and I would like to think that it is through years and years of practice in terms of critical thinking that it becomes intuitive. It becomes like a second nature to them. You know,
Right.
perhaps. Yeah. Anyway, that's my point though. Nothing to be. There's no preference towards any gender, but this is what in my
Experience.
my experience, and I do find that female has got better intuition. That is something that I cannot deny. I would like to think that because of all this critical thinking that I've been doing, it becomes like intuition. You know, they know how to act. Okay, let's open up the questions to the floor. Okay, the first questions on the list would be, what methods have you found effective for helping employees to improve critical thinking skills? I believe you have touched on some of them, but
Yeah.
perhaps I'd like to address some of the questions again.
Okay. The first question, okay, basically you want to help your employees to improve their critical thinking skills. One of the ways is to ask them questions. Yeah, not feeding them information, but asking them questions. Why? Because when you ask them questions, that sets their mind thinking. Because certain questions, when you pose to them, they may not have thought about it. Okay, and this is where you can challenge the mind to think differently and think from another perspective, right? Let's say I may not be, I do not have the experience of running a marathon, for example. Then I say, oh, marathon is something that is torturing and things like that. So why? Asking the okay, what I coined it as the five buttocks on a bed. Okay, all of us are adults, huh? 5 buttocks on a bed. What is 5 buttocks on a bed? Okay, imagine with me, you have the bed as in the front and back and the, what do you call it? The bed itself, right? And you have all the 5 buttocks sitting down there. What do you see? What do you see? Let me, okay, okay, let me write it down, okay?
I see a lot of W's and U's.
Okay, now let me share with you. What do you see here?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, now the 5 buttocks sitting on the bed. This is using the 5W1H.
Okay.
Right? When I say 5W1H, everybody, but nobody heard about the 5 buttocks on the bed. So make it a twist, right? So you always remember, the 5 buttocks on the bed. How do you apply it? Okay, why is it so? Who says that? Right? What happens if this thing and things like that? So you use the 5W1H to ask your employee, right? And then they set them into the thinking mode and come up with different scenarios. So in that sense, you spar with them. Okay, so do not give them the answers straight away. You just ask them questions, get them to give you the answers. And they give you the answers. This is where you know how deep your staff can think, how broadly they can think, and how different aspect of the questioning. Are we okay?
Yep, Ivan, which I can think of a scenario because, yeah, when I talk about 5 buttocks and bed frame, I think some of them are referring to 5 wives and 1 husband. Okay, and what you said is correct, right? Sometimes posing them the question itself would actually set them into thinking. And I always tell this to some of my colleagues and even my staff itself. When they ask me a question, I always pose it back to them. What do you think? Well, why? How? You know, what do you think is your take on this? And most of the time, somehow or other, they seems to know the answer. All right, they sort of know the answer. They just want to get an affirmation from you that they are thinking right, so that they are on the right track itself. So I think this is actually a very good practice. You know, sometimes don't have to go to the answer directly. Set them on their thinking mode, and then don't have to reaffirm that they are thinking right. In fact, you know, many of the times they were like thinking, "Hey, what my boss is thinking. So what will his answer be?" And things like that. And that sort of stifle creative thinking or critical stuff.
Yeah.
I think you know what you said is it's something that perfectly I can actually relate to. Yeah, good point. You know, so I won't be giving any answers to all my colleagues and stuff from now onwards. You give me the answer when you pose the questions. Okay, let's bring us back to the next questions. What methods? Okay, hang on. I constantly find myself failing to deliver my thoughts when I try to communicate. How can I use critical thinking to help me on this?
Okay. So your inability, or you have challenges communicating your thoughts, right? Reason being is your thought line are not concrete enough, are not comprehensive enough. So when you want to propose or want to come out with the ideas and things like that, you're not able to articulate well because, hey, the jigsaw puzzle is not complete yet. Are we okay? So the jigsaw puzzle is not complete yet, and you may not be able to articulate well about the situation, about the solution, and what not. Okay. So another part of it from the other angle is that, hey, what personality do you possess? Are you the ones that can be very detailed, but you are not able to express well? Okay. So it depends on the thought line and you yourself. So you need to be aware who you are, right? And if let's say I'm the Iron Man can easily communicate with anybody, right? Even taking a bus, taking a train where it's full of people, it can strike a conversation, which I do that, right? Strike a conversation easily, right? But when somebody's thoughts, when their thoughts are not complete enough, they may have missing pieces, missing information, or some parts of it are not certain. Then you have a problem articulating it. That could be the possible scenario. Yeah.
Okay. I think having said that point, I think that's a great point to bring up. That's actually to really prepare yourself. I think sufficient preparation must be there, especially when you have some obstacles in terms of trying to communicate your thoughts itself. I think it's always good to actually go through the whole thinking process and get all the facts ready and plan out the way that you communicate. I think in a certain way that will probably help. You know. Which also brings me to my next point. You know, some people out there are like, you know, you're always jumping on their feet, and I was like, Eureka, you know, I've got some great idea, innovative idea, and they start to actually throw some of the ideas there without going through the critical thinking process itself. And many times we have to bring them back on the ground, back on earth, and then to let them think about, hey, there's this the other possible side of the scenario, you know. So I think to strike a balance would be great in this instance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now the next questions from the attendees will be: does the left-right brain influence critical thinking?
To a certain extent, yes, because it's about logical and emotional thinking. Yeah, like some of us can appreciate. Okay, let's give an example. Some of us appreciate classical music. Okay, but some of us just cannot take it. Right. So when I drive, I will play 92.4. I'm not advertising for them. I'll play 92.4. I play classical music, and my friends sit in the car. They say, "Oh, won't you fall asleep listening to classical music?" I say, "No, it's very relaxing and I enjoyed it." Yeah. So it depends on the individual. It does play a part in the way you think, right? Because for example, if somebody is more of a logical mind, yeah, they will make sure that all the details are there. They will go and find out, go and dig out all the information. Like for example, Hawkeye is very detailed. He will get all the information. He will go and find out. I'm sure some of your colleagues will, in the meeting, you observe, right? Or maybe when you are back in the office when the COVID is over. Look at them. When they attend meeting, they will have a notepad and they will start writing, or whether they are keying in computer or whatever, they will take notes, right? They take notes. And you do notice that some of them in a meeting room also just sit there and relax and just listen. Yeah, so they are different. So the way they process the information has different ways of handling it. Some just love information. Some can capture the juice of it, right? And that's all. So it's not about whether right brain thinkers or left brain thinkers are better, right? It's the way you process the information, right? The way you analyze the information, how well you can analyze the information. Are the information sufficient for you or not? All right. And then how can you apply it? All right. And how can you pass it out, getting feedback? Yeah. So like what I mentioned, the ICA, ACT method. So this is where you can get all the information more complete. Yeah.
Okay, great. I hope, yes, I do think that we did answer to that point itself. Okay, I think we have reached the end of our sessions. Well, we're taking a bit usual, longer than usual itself. Thanks to Ivan Phua, Mr. Ivan Phua, which is our trainer, our very acclaimed trainer from the Marketing Institute of Singapore. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Roger, and MIS for having me sharing this information with all of you, and hope to see you soon.
Okay, don't leave this room yet. I do have some other information for the rest of our attendees, so please stay on. Okay, next, I think we're going to flash out. Thank you, Ivan. All right, so we're going to flash out the other speakers that will be coming on board. Now, as you can see, this is our MIS lunchtime webinars. Some of them will thinking, hey, webinars or webinars, you know. So this is a web seminar. So it's a webinars that we will be having. And you can see the rest of our trainers coming on board. Tomorrow, we're going to have someone very interesting. That's Professor Sata Bawani, Mr. Sata Bawani himself, which will be touching on the topic. Can I have his microphone? Sorry. Okay, he'll be touching on the topic on leading during times of crisis. Okay, so can I have his poster up? Someone? Yes, that's the one. Okay, so I happen to know Professor Sata Bawani for a long time. In fact, for almost 30 years. When I first started my marketing classes, he was then the very first lecturer that actually got me interested in marketing itself, and he did a great job. All right, and has progressed since from marketing right up to leadership right now, and he's actually a forward thought leaders in the area of leadership. Okay. And coaching. So I believe tomorrow it's really a session that I will encourage all of you here not to miss out. And it's also well, I have not seen him for quite a while. Since the last time that we met was during a conference itself. So really looking forward towards our sessions tomorrow, where we have our speakers, Professor Sata Bawani, coming on board to talk to us and to tell us more about how to lead the organizations through these difficult times of crisis. Okay. Now, having said that, please, all right, I believe all of you here would have a Facebook page. If not, start thinking about whether you should need one. I obviously think that all of us here, we are living in a digital age, and we should have at least a Facebook page. Now, if you happen to have a Facebook page, please visit our Marketing Institute of Singapore Facebook. All right, as you can see, that we actually have posted out on all the sessions, including our speakers, the upcoming speakers. And if you do have any questions for our past speakers, you can always post it there for us. Yes, you have it, all right? So please like us, subscribe to our Facebook page, and then do like us on Facebook page. Okay, all right, this is how you do it. Which next will come back to my point, you know. I really have to give a word of thanks to Mr. Dave Phua. You heard me mentioning his name earlier on. And Mr. Dave Phua is actually the founder of Training Age, which they are providing quality trainers to MIS, the Marketing Institute of Singapore. Thanks, Dave, for arranging the trainers to be here to share their expertise on the subject matters itself. So thank you, Training Age and Dave Phua, for making the effort and recommending their trainers. All right, and you can see all their trainers actually having their training sessions with our Marketing Institute of Singapore Executive Development Programs, okay? So at this stage, I would like to show you the slides on the Executive Development Programs. Now do remember, MIS, the Marketing Institute of Singapore, we have existed for the past 46 years, okay? And we are actually a not-for-profit organization. And we do have our MIS Executive Development Programs, which I believe all of you here, one way or another, will be able to benefit through our over 120 training courses across 9 disciplines. Now, you can always scan the QR code, or you can always visit our website or our Facebook to learn more on our training programs, okay? All right, thank you. Next, I would also like to mention that MIS, we don't just have executive training, we do have our diploma, okay? Now, I personally graduated from the Marketing Institute of Singapore, Diploma in Sales and Marketing, which has really helped me a lot throughout my career, okay? So, MIS, we have our Marketing Institute of Singapore Business School, where we have our Diploma in Sales and Marketing and our Advanced Diploma in Digital Marketing. Now, this is some Advanced Diploma in Digital Marketing is where we are seeing a lot of take-up right now. I think looking at our digital age itself, I don't think you want to be left out, right? So you can always pick up our Advanced Diploma in Digital Marketing. Now, for those, I believe a lot of you here are actually marketers. You may not need the Diploma in Sales and Marketing or Diploma in Business right now, but just look around you. You may have your niece, your nephews, even your sons and your daughters. You know, during this period of time, while waiting for National Service enlistment, or while waiting to go into polytechnics, all right, they can always pick up another diploma. Now, you'll be very surprised that how easy have we made it for our attendees or our trainees to actually attain their diploma, okay? All right, I do have some of the, I would say, tertiary institutions, undergrads, taking our diploma, at the same time taking the tertiary institutions with our mainstream polytechnics. And they somehow or other graduated with our diploma much earlier than the one that they have in the tertiary institution. So it's open for registration right now. Please look out for this. You can always get another academic diplomas from MIS, all right? And we've made it very easy for you right now, okay? I will not tell you more from here. Please visit us on our website, okay, including our Facebook. All right, next I will go on to our English, learn in basic conversational English. Now, this is MIS way of contributing back to the community. All right, so if you have friends that probably would like to learn how to converse better in basic English, they're welcome to join us. In fact, tonight we're running our 4th sessions on in terms of learning basic conversational English. And I can tell you this, you know, in fact, over the past few days, we've seen some of our foreign workers from Bangladesh, from India, from China, coming on board to actually pick up some of the English, basic English conversation. It's also a way for us to keep them at company at the same time to learn some basic skills. So once after the lockdown period itself, they're better equipped, right, in terms of communicating with our local community. So if you find that you have someone, perhaps even for your mates, and it will be a good thing for them to actually pick up a skills or two from here. So we are giving this free. MIS is doing our very own, well, corporate social responsibility projects by offering this learn basic conversational English every night. In fact, from 7 to 9 p.m. So we are into our 4 sessions tonight. Hopefully, we will see more of you joining us. All right, last but not least, I'll be touching on the mass donation again. Okay. All right, MIS, the Marketing Institute of Singapore. Now, we are not the one just initiating mass donations. In fact, there are a lot of organizations out there that are actually doing mass donations, but a lot of them are actually doing for local. All right, our local communities. And thanks to our government, that's done a great job in giving every citizens a mask, a reusable mask that our citizens are pretty much watched after in terms of their health and their benefit. All right. So, but here we are not just looking at Singapore alone, we are after all a global citizens. So MIS, we've started this mass donation not for Singaporeans, but more for the community among the ASEAN nations. So we are looking at our very first place to go will be Philippines, okay? So as we all know that Philippines, it's a larger community than we are. There are a lot of people right now in Philippines that are unable to equip themselves with even a basic mask to protect themselves from the COVID-19 virus. So here we are, MIS, we will be working closely with our partner from the Philippines, the Philippine Marketing Associations, including the past presidents, Madam Gwen itself, to help us to bring across the masks donated by Singaporeans to them. So do join us if you have some time, if you have some ways on getting masks, or otherwise you would like to contribute. Do find out more. There are two telephone numbers over there. Do call them, or you can WhatsApp them to actually sort of communicate with them on how you can actually help us in terms of our mass donation to our fellow communities from the ASEAN countries. So we're looking at the first place to donate to will be to Philippines. Subsequently, we'd like to go to Bangladesh, Indonesia, and including some of our neighboring countries such as Malaysia. Okay, all right, I think enough said for now. Now, I would like to really give thanks again to all of you for joining our sessions today. It's longer than usual. So do join us again tomorrow, same time, same channel, same Zoom channel itself. And of course, we will be posting the feedbacks. Please do give us more feedback itself, all right? So we'll be posting more on our Facebook, like what I said, join us on Facebook. Okay, we will be bringing this webinar sessions live also on Facebook from tomorrow or the day after. Okay, as for now, stay safe, stay home. Thank you.